So today I am joined by Samantha at Peard Real Estate, and we have a great topic surrounding outsourcing. And it's a topic that I have been wanting to do for a while because I am a bit of a believer that the outsourcing that we're doing as property managers could possibly do us out of a job in the future. So thank you, Sam, for joining me today.
Hi, thank you.
So what I wanted to talk about is the outsourcing and the benefits of it and the negatives of it. So tell me a little bit about your agency, the number of properties and how you use outsourcing.
So I'm in the Scarborough branch of Peard Real Estate. We've got about 400 properties under management. The only outsourcing we do is PCRs. That's the only outsourcing we do. Otherwise, we're completely in-house. And we only do that strictly for the third-party concept. Is it keeps it neutral for tenants, ourselves, and owners. And then there's no question as to the biasness of the property being presented to the tenant and their reporting.
So what's interesting with the PCRs is that I hadn't done them for a while, and I had gone and done some PCRs, and I find them a little bit boring, but they're relatively easy because you're just stating the condition.
For sure.
And then I was thinking to myself, like, why don't we outsource final and bond inspections instead and not PCRs?
I think for myself, I like to do the final inspection with a colleague to see how the property has been left, and then you can present it or prepare it against the original report. Then you can go back to your owner or your tenant and you've got that knowledge that, yeah, there was a big chip in the wall or it wasn't there when you moved in. So I think I myself like to do the final inspections and keep control of that, because if it does end up going to court, worst case scenario, you've seen it for yourself.
And you've seen it.
Yeah.
And have you trialled other outsourcing in the past before, or have you always just done it this way?
Always done it this way, yeah.
Have you ever not done the PCRs in the agency? Do you ever remember a time where you haven't outsourced them?
Yeah, so we've only done outsourcing of PCRs for about the last 2 or 3 years. Before that, it was in-house. The updates of a new tenant moving in was done in-house. But, trying to work smarter these days, it was let's just outsource the PCRs, given the time that they can take. It just suited our agency better to outsource PCRs. So,
question for you, because I'm a bit passionate about the time when we take things away from property managers. Do you remember when you took PCRs away from the property managers? Did you then have them? Was the point to allow them to manage more properties, or was it to allow them to better service the clients, or what was the reason there?
A bit of both. It was more properties. The benchmark used to be 100 properties per property manager. We've increased that slightly. And also just better service as well, more time to do inspections or follow-up maintenance, follow-up applications and things like that, prospecting for tenants and things like that, yeah.
Because I think that's a big thing that a lot of agencies do wrong, where they might outsource the PCRs because they think that that's what everybody does as their first step to outsourcing. But then they do it because I think there's a lot of property managers who claim they're very busy, and they probably are busy. Yeah. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't think they're probably working efficiently. So then what happens is the property managers are complaining that they've got too much on. So then the boss says, well, let's outsource some PCRs because they're time consuming. That's totally cool. But then this property manager can still complain about being busy. And it's like, well, hold on a second. I've just saved you, hypothetically, 6 hours of work a week. Let's say, each PCR is 2 or 3 hours. So, it's important, I think, for business owners to make sure that 6 hours, that 6 hours or 5 hours that property managers gained is doing those good phone calls or doing the maintenance checks, you know what I mean?
Following up maintenance and quotes and things like that. So we did increase, like I said, from 100 properties to 110 properties as well. Good. So we did increase the capacity of the property manager as well.
Yeah, and I think that's what I would recommend to any real estate agents that don't do outsourcing, that you make that very clear at the start that, yes, I can outsource, but if that's replacing this many hours for you, then
there's always something to do.
There's always something to do, absolutely. And so let's talk about some other outsourcing that maybe we've heard in other agencies. So my office, I don't personally outsource anything. There are the odd occasion that we do outsource a PCR if, for example, someone's on annual leave, or if it's a really big property that's completely furnished, for example, or there's a reason. So we might outsource. We've got 575 properties. We probably might outsource 3 PCRs per year, maybe
Wow.
something like that. So not a lot.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that I always outsource. So always happy with PCRs outsourcing from the start. And then I had a change of staff, and my staff were actually the ones that said to me, Ash, we want to be doing our own PCRs because we want to check the properties ourselves.
Yep.
And I was just like, you beauty, that's
Yeah.
going to save me a bit of money. So I was quite happy with that situation, and they prefer to do it. But I think it makes it a lot easier now with dictaphones and straight into your software. Because what software are you using?
For PCRs?
No, for
Inspection?
no, trust.
Console.
That's right.
Console
that's
Cloud,
right.
yeah. We've
You
just
like
changed.
it?
Yeah, we've only just changed over about 6 months ago. So
Yeah.
just getting to know the ins and outs of it. They're updating it constantly, which is great. But yeah, we do like it. It's obviously, it's cloud-based, it's faster, it's more workflow-based, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Do you think that you will do any other outsourcing? Is there like a business plan to bring in something different?
Not at this stage, not that I'm aware of. Bear in mind, Peard has about 3,000 managements all over WA, but our little Scarborough office, no, at this stage we're happy with how we do it. Yeah. Don't plan on changing anything soon.
Yeah, excellent. And it's good that the way that you said that you sell it to your clients, that we do outsource the PCRs because it's a third party, unbiased, etc. And it's all about, because you're a BDM, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from a BDM, because I do our BDM, it's knowing your market and your competition. So I used to talk about the benefits of outsourcing PCRs when I outsource them. But now that I don't outsource them, I use the benefit of we like to do everything in-house and we don't believe in outsourcing. And so you just use it to your advantage.
Exactly. You know your market, you know what your clients are going to be like. So you can pros and cons of each way.
Absolutely.
Depending on your captured audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Virtual assistants overseas, have you used them before?
I know Peard have. I haven't personally. There's a need for them, I believe, for maybe data entry, basic roles, basic tasks like that, but I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah. So I have used them in the past, and again, my staff, I'm very lucky, they were the ones that were just like, can we just do it ourselves? We had a very, very good company. We used Bepo, and they were excellent. I can't fault them at all. They did our VA work part-time, but they were responsible not for doing any communication with our clients, but it was all behind the scenes stuff.
Yes.
So, it might be booking in routine inspections or cleaning the database and keeping that clean. There's certain roles where I think that you could use them for the benefit of the agency, but it doesn't affect the tenants or the owners.
I don't like them contacting clients. We haven't done that, but I have heard or I've received calls from VAs for application checks and things like that, and I'm just like, ooh, it's not for me. It works for some people, but it's not for me.
Yeah, and we chatted about that the other day with the references, and we'll talk a bit about that like in our automation session. But I think that it's funny, isn't it? Like when we're on the receiving end of the VAs,
don't like it.
We don't like it, but yet we still sometimes, some agencies still use it.
Yep.
So we'll chat about the benefits of that. Routine inspection outsourcing, what's your thoughts on that getting done?
Again, I could see there is a need for it if someone's away or you're short-staffed or for some reason you've got a lot of inspections in that particular month. But again, not a fan of it. I prefer to keep in-house, hands-on, eyes-on for your owner. Between myself and my assistant, we do the inspections so that we know if there is a maintenance issue or a tenant's got a problem, we know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah,
We've seen it.
Yeah, and I think that you, same with annual leave. If I've got someone on an extended annual leave, I would utilise it if I didn't have the capability with staff in-house.
Yeah.
But again, my staff would just revolve their routine inspections around their holidays. So, you know what I mean? Book them in, so it's quite all right. But I think there's like a need for having the routine inspections outsourced, but I've seen agencies do like every second one just to alleviate. I don't know if that, I think it'd probably be hard to monitor it in a house.
Especially if you have a changeover of staff.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a good tracking system, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, again, if you're a boutique, independent or, sole trader, one staff member kind of agency, maybe that would work for you. But I think, when you've got enough staff to cover it, it should be done hands-on.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. Because I've always said that I'm a big believer about the love triangle, and the importance of a routine inspection is not just to inspect the property, which is what a VA or an outsource company would do, but it's also to maintain that relationship with the property manager and the tenant. And quite often, like we've actually just had a couple recently where the tenants, we've noticed, because they're long term, where they've been depressed, or if they've been like an elderly man, and we noticed that he started hoarding and he started sort of seeing mold that wasn't there. And so for us as a property manager, like we also treat that the routine inspections as a time for us just to connect with them to make sure they are okay.
Because you do have the relationship with your tenants.
Yeah.
Even though they're not our client, there's still a relationship and an obligation there to them.
Correct.
So,
yeah. So I think that's the reason why you should do them yourself. So question, do you think outsourcing is doing us out of a job?
Potentially. Mm-hmm. I think it's, if you manage it well and use it for the right purposes, it's a great tool and a great backup to have. I wouldn't like to see it as a full-time, if you're engaging a property manager or an agency, you want a lot of it done in-house. That's my expectation.
Yeah.
Doing us out of a job, probably, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a real estate model where you can ultimately manage 500 properties, hypothetically, with VAs and outsourcing your routine inspections and your PCRs and potentially your final bond inspections. And then you have, let's say you have a VA, and then you've got one property manager who actually just maybe takes the phone calls and does the admin work. So I use the word glorified admin worker, which is ultimately
I would tend to agree with you.
But then I think then there's different business models. And
there is, and what works for one's not going to work for others. I think, if you aren't leaving the office as a property manager, I think you could tend to be a glorified administrator.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls. Yes, I agree. You do need someone predominantly office-based, but I think it's good for us to do the final inspection or even do one home open every now and then just to have a look at the property. Has it deteriorated once that tenant left? And let your owner know the carpets need replacing and that sort of thing. So I think it's, that different business models for different people.
That's right. And that's what I sort of always believe.
Yeah.
And I think, I won't lie. I think that if I was on my own in business, and let's say that I had 500 properties that I looked after and I had a staff member, I would have to be honest and say that if that staff member had left, I probably would consider the outsourcing model for me on my own for 500 properties with people doing all my extra work, because I've got the control of staying in touch with the owners. But I think that that decision would be me wanting to make more money, and it would be a financial benefit for me and not the best interest of my clients.
Exactly. That's how I would see it as well.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, we're all in business for different reasons. And so, some people are in business for lifestyle and some are in business for financial, and that financial is absolutely fine. That's normal. But, if you are in it for just the financial reasons, then you would go down that way.
It'd be interesting to see how they go long term.
Yeah, well, that's right, exactly. Other benefits of outsourcing I know can be not having to pay an extra staff member for super, another staff member for annual leave, sick leave to worry about.
Yeah.
Like, they're all the things that an outsourced company
So I guess that's where the financials and the business model comes into it.
Yeah, the reliability. But then, like I said, I think that's a benefit of the agency, not the client.
Yeah, so from a service point of view, I don't think it would service the client to what I would want. However, business models or financials for other people is different.
And I think we sort of discussed that from probably for 500 properties less, would it be fair to say that doesn't really require much outsourcing, if any? But as we get larger, there would be more of a need, do you think?
Possibly, because obviously the more staff you have, staff itself can bring issues to your business. So if you're trying to limit the staffing issues and like you say, the liability of staff, perhaps you'd want to outsource maybe one or two other tasks.
Yeah.
I guess where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly. And then we're very, the other thing I will mention, because I'll have some outsourcing companies listen, we are very lucky in Perth to have wonderful outsourcing companies. We're very lucky.
Ours is great that we use.
Yeah. So, fortunate that they treat it like their own business as well. Like they will go in appropriately for our tenants. And we've chatted about the overseas outsourcing. We've chatted about the local outsourcing. reception outsourcing. Do you have a receptionist?
We do have a receptionist,
Yeah, okay.
yes. We're in Scarborough. We do have a lot of walk-ins being in the location we're in. We still get a lot of walk-in traffic, looking for rentals, handing out rental lists, a bit old school like that. But our receptionist, she's great. She knows to hand out rental lists, old school service, glass of water, that kind of thing.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So we're the same. We have the window display list, but we are trying to go a little bit more paperless. So we now have our QR code. We should put one on your window display.
I've
QR
seen them.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we don't hand out rental lists anymore, and people just have to hover their camera over it.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of elderly ones where we will still quickly print one off if they
Sure.
ask.
Yeah.
But generally, people are just doing that, and that's
Something to ask the boss later on.
Boss, I suggest you do. So we don't have a receptionist, but we always have. But we as of April this year we don't, and we have got. And I guess I don't know if you'd call it outsourcing or just smart technology. Probably smart technology, but we have the system where you ring the office and it says thanks for calling SOCO. Press 1 to speak to this and 2, and I've made it minimal to 4 or 5 options. But I find that is, I actually still consider that a bit of outsourcing.
I would too, considering what I've got at the moment. Yeah,
I call that outsourcing. So then, because we found that the phone calls that were coming through are all for the property managers anyway.
Yes, correct, yeah.
So
sales reps all straight to their mobiles.
Correct. And so now the property managers, it just goes straight to their mobile when the person presses 2 or 3.
Sure, yeah.
And that's been working, so I guess.
Okay, is it outsourcing or is it automation?
Yeah, let's call it automation.
Yeah, automation, I think. I don't think it's outsourcing as such. I would say more automation, yeah.
But saying that, there is some outside. Have you seen outsourced receptionists?
No.
Oh, okay. So I'll quickly mention it in case anyone listening is looking at the options. So there's also a lady that has like a outsourced reception service. She's got a team of about 5 ladies, and she is in Welshpool. Really lovely to deal with. And you don't pay any fees. You only pay per call they answer. Yeah, and it was not expensive. I mean, I want to say it was like 50 cents a call or something like that. And so the phone goes to them. They answer it like they're sitting right there. They're sitting right there. When the phone calls, they know what office it's for, and they take the phone call. They take the message. They would actually say, "Sorry, they're just out at lunch at the moment. Can I take a message?" And that would probably be more outsourcing.
Yes,
but a great option that I was considering if you didn't get a lot of phone calls. But even if you did, it would still be cheaper than a receptionist.
Probably for a smaller office. Yeah. I think again with Peard Real Estate, we're quite lucky with the several offices we've got around Perth. We do have 1 or 2 very good in-house temps.
Yeah.
So if our receptionist is sick or a property manager is sick for that day, instead of cancelling inspections, we'll see if this temp is available. She works for Peard. She knows the Peard system. So we probably, rather than an outsourced receptionist, we'd call our temp in. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we have sort of covered everything that I wanted to cover. I guess let's just to finish everything off, let's talk about the future of outsourcing. Where do you see the future of real estates using outsourced services?
I'm not too sure. I haven't given a lot of thought. I think it will happen more and more as people are trying to save money and fees are getting lower. There seems to be a race to the bottom at the moment for fees. Yeah. So perhaps business owners would look at outsourcing more. It also gives staff members or employees flexibility to work from job to job rather than working for one agency. They can then work for an outsourcing company and drift around between agencies that they work for rather than working for an agency or in an agency. So perhaps there is quite a future for it if that's the way staff members are going to go. Yeah, property management. Yeah,
I think that we will see the outsourcing continue. I still think it's going to be a big thing, and I think that PCRs is quite standard in WA to be outsourced. I think that we will see routine inspections being more regular. I know.
Sadly.
I know.
Old school here.
Yeah, I think they will be. And I actually think that we could potentially see the viewings being outsourced from and when I say outsourced, a company that actually just specialises in viewings
home
and doing them
on
the weekend. I think that will free up lots of time. I think that, the aim to try and get people to stay in the office more and more is what's going to drive that. So
it would be interesting to see and how it goes when screening tenants.
Yeah.
when you meet them versus trusting someone else's judgment.
Oh, I need to see you.
Yes, I need to talk to you.
I need to talk to you.
What car do they drive?
and see what shoes you're wearing, or, you know, whether you've got teeth. So.
Exactly.
Correct. Which is funny enough, one of my friends who works south of the river, is one of her requirements that applicants must be wearing shoes and have all their teeth.
It's a standard.
It's a standard. Not in South Perth, but there it is.
Other areas, yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to our next session on automation.
Sounds great. Thank you.